I feel that the obsession, the symbol of the obsession with women with very big penises, an obsession of being penetrated, a desire to be penetrated by something that is so big that it fills all the space. And I think that obsession is a symbol of a deep, genuine desire, but that desire is misunderstood and eroticized and transformed. Yeah, a woman wants to be fulfilled totally and completely. But ask the women who are obsessed with anaconda cocks. Well, they get one, then another, and another, and then they need 10, and then they need 50. So what does that say about the anaconda cock? Well, we have to be honest here. It's like, it means, the symbol of it means the penis is so big it will take all the space. And all I want is that something takes all the space inside. This is what the symbol means. I think everybody can understand. Now that person is so materialistic, it's so external, that's what she wants. She wants something that she can put inside of her that will, maybe her vagina has been opened too much. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to place a judgment in my story right now. Put something in me that fills me. Okay, so ask the women who have devoted themselves to this art form. I've met lots of them. The result is always the same. They haven't found what they're looking for, but through the process, they've lost something and gained something. What they've lost is a form of innocence. Innocence, not your stupid innocence, that means a form of purity and sanctity. And what they've developed is a form of power and witchcraft. It's systematic, if they're good at what they're doing. This is not a criticism. But at the end of the day, I slid that in, I don't know why, but at the end of the day, she didn't find what she was looking for. Something to fill her, no matter how big the dick size, no matter how hard that dick size rammed into her, she didn't find what she was looking for. And what is she looking for? What is the woman looking for? Herself. Isn't that what she's looking for? She's looking for an experience of herself which is transcendental, which is greater than this little Melanie, the little construct that suffocates her and that deprives her of life itself. That's what she's looking for. And what she's looking for is to be filled by something so powerful. Somehow in her brain, she may not put it together. She wants to be filled because she can't stand herself. She wants to be filled because she feels that she's an infinite void and wants to be filled so that she can experience herself when she's full. Not always lost in every direction. But at the end of the day, I assure you what she's looking for is an experience of herself. A transcendental experience of herself that is not bound by the constant feeling lacking, the constant feeling of empty, not the power of void, but empty like a cracked vase that cannot contain anything. It's just always leaking, or a perpetual state of desperation, or the suffocation of Melanie, the construct. I want to experience something that transcends all of this. So the symbol of the absolute infinite phallus, that is the so-called anaconda cock that some people fetish about, it's like, well, that's what it should technically represent. It's a superpower dick. But what is a superpower dick if it's a real phallus? Like we've addressed at the start of the show, of this session, what does the masculine principle really provide for a woman? A space where she can relax. So in her relaxation, she can come down into herself and she can begin to appear. Well, how does a penis, which is nothing but soft tissue, do that? It cannot. That's why I said it's a symbol. But what it can do in certain circumstances with people who know how to use this, it could smash the shit out of Melanie, or the tensions or the restrictions. And maybe through that process, as she's being smashed and banged the shit of, and she's good at receiving the bang, because a lot of girls are not good at getting the bang. Through that process, as she gets the shit banged out of her and her restrictions are essentially blown apart, There's a flicker of an instant, of a fraction of a technical second, where there's, due to the friction and the violence, a flicker of a moment where she has an impression of having an experience of herself. That's what she's looking for. Listen, I will never forget this. I used to know this girl. I was dating her at the time. I'll never forget this. I was really young. And she was telling me about her sexual experiences. And she told me this. I will never forget. And she was a little ripe little shit. She was like 20 years old. Everything about her was like supersized. It was just like, I'm giving you context so that you understand. I remember the first time I undressed her, I was stared at it. I was just like, everything was supersized. It was fucking awesome. Everything was supersized. It was weird. It felt like it was witchcraft. It was fake. And technically it was, because I got to know her for a few years. And then the real size, the real dimensions came as her mental restrictions and her toxins that were holding the facade up went away. It's not that she wasn't beautiful after, but that was the supersized version that she had constructed with her mind and that her body had the capacity to express. The point of the story was, now that you have a sense of what she looked like, is that she was seeing this guy and she was telling me how she would had sex with him. And she was telling me that she had, I remember very vividly because it stayed with me. She said he was fucking me in the stairs at his parents' place. It's irrelevant, but it makes sense. And she had found an angle with the stairs, and he was fucking her so fucking hard her vagina would bleed. And she would take it and take it and take it and take it. And this girl is not an idiot. She's a very powerful witch today. And she told me in one event, something happened where she disconnected from her body and had an experience she had never had before, in which she had some kind of epiphany and she started to cry and cry and cry and cry. She had no idea what's going on. And I'm listening to the story. I'm like, so he technically raped the shit out of you. You literally disconnected from your body, but that gave you a certain kind of freedom from Melanie, which is not her name, from the construct and that absolute tension in which she's a prisoner. He fucking raped the shit out of her. Her vagina bled. Imagine. And she had that kind of experience. So that's what she was looking for in the rape, which was not a rape because it was volunteer, but what volunteer? She wanted that. She consented to that, but it's obviously he's raping her, if you understand the word rape, like fucking the shit out of her. That gave her that experience. So now I look at her like this, and I'm like, I know me. I'm like, I'm gentle. I don't do that. I don't provide that service. If that's what you're looking for, I'm like, that's not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not even interested in that. And I'm like, what kind of penis? A circumcised penis doesn't feel fuck all very often. So that's number one. I'm like, you don't, like, this person does that, like, he don't feel fuck all. Yeah, that's what happens. Anyways, let's not get into circumcision. That's another subject. We'll have it another time. But the point is, that would be, and that for her had become an epic experience in her sexuality. Well, what was epic? She'd associate that he banged the shit out of her. It's like, no, is that something happened that created some kind of release in the nervous system, and she had a certain kind of experience that gave her a sense of transcendence of her little constricted little reality that she had. Now she put it all together and thinks that it's because he fucked the shit out of her and she likes that. And then of course, when I started being with her and she started to come down to earth, she realized that she detested that it hurt her, that it traumatized her. In fact, that it hurt her so much that she separated herself from her body because it's so violent. So she was addicted to violence and she wanted to inflict on herself pain. Anyways, it's a complex, everything is complex. The point is, in my experience, what the woman is looking for is an experience, a transcendent experience of herself, of the goddess that lives inside of her. That's what she's looking for. She doesn't know how to find it. Nobody's teaching her. Nobody even wants to speak about those things. And when they do, they make it new age into this gushy, disgusting shit. Don't get me, I'm not going to get nervous here. And that is what the so-called symbol of a so-called immense cock means, in my opinion, and in my experiences. And I've been with a lot of women in my life, some of which I've been with very big cocks, yet the result is always the same. Well, I haven't found what I'm looking for. So what does that say? Well, the woman is looking for a certain kind of experience via sexuality, and no matter the cock size, the cock girth, the holder or the handler of the cock, she's not finding what she's looking for. So what's she looking for? She's obviously not looking for cock. I've been with women who have been with a lot of guys also, right? So these are particular women. It's a special experience as a man. If you're with such a woman, I'm not talking about just fucking her like a slut, like actually get to know a woman who's been there. All that, blah, blah. What I'm trying to say is that it's not the cock she's looking for, because she had all kinds of cocks, big cocks, small cocks, cock that made this, cock that did this, cock that, like, and she's still famished. That's the end result. She's famished, and the famished, in fact, gets worse. As if every time she has an experience, she lost something, and now she's trying to recuperate what she lost and still find what she's looking for. So every time she loses something, now she's trying to get back what she lost, plus find what she's looking for in the first place. And she goes so far down into the debt that she now forgot that she was looking for something, and all she's trying to do is pay the interest on the debt. That's a thirsty ass bitch. I ain't got nothing against these people. And I'm going to tell you something. A thirsty ass bitch, now because everything is mashed up. So a thirsty ass bitch like this has a power. That's an extreme power of magnetism. It's a certain kind of witchcraft magnetism. It's extremely powerful, and she can draw shit from anyone. It's very powerful. A woman who's gone that far down the road has a fucking power, and if she knows how to yield it, that's a powerful creature. So I've met some of them, and I've met some of them that know how to use slut power. Sluts are not a joke. So that's my humble opinion. So the fetish, the desire, the genuine, wholesome, natural, organic desire of a woman to be filled by a masculine principle that is able to activate her entire feminine essence, that's true. But that being that we're so far from that, and the artificial construct, the melanin, the artificial construct has taken the feminine, the goddess, the feminine energy as a hostage. And the man's, we had said Duke the Frank, has taken the masculine energy as a hostage also. Now the symbols or the symbology that represents this has become the fetish. So, wow, if I can only have a cock that's that big, it will fill all the space and I will have what I really... So the symbology is trying to point to something. But that only works in the mind of Melanie and Frank, because Melanie and Frank don't have access to their real sexual potency. They don't have access to their real sexual yearning or that sexual power. They live in the fantasy. That's what Melanie and Frank are. Constructs. But through the construct, the real masculine and feminine essence are still trying to call forth what they're looking for. But there's no space for it, and it gets deformed by the construct that means Frank and Melanie, and it becomes symbolized by a so-called penis and a so-called ass. Imagine, have you seen these fake asses? It's like, what is that? How do you touch that? Do you touch that? Like, who wants to touch that? How do you touch that? Do I put gloves? If I squish too hard, does it snap? How did they put the thing in the ass? Because if I want to, like, because my surrounding, they don't have these asses. So I'm like, if I see that, I'm like, when I was at a strip joint, I saw it, I'm like, well, how did you put that thing? That's how I'm looking at it from a surgical point of view. I'm like, that's interesting. Can I touch the tissue of it? I did the same when I had the fake tits for the first time. I'm like, how does this like hold and work? This is interesting. Anyways, the point is, like that, what's that supreme ass representing? Extreme goddesshood, extreme fertility, extreme bliss, a container that is so big that it will either swallow you or finally your full manhood will be received. That's what it's representing, the potency of bliss that you can get from that womb. That's what it says. I can birth the universe. Isn't that what it looks like? Yeah, but I'm like, but that's not really what it is. Because that creative potency can be in a Chinese woman whose pelvis is big like this. What does that create? right? The creative principle wants to express itself in a Chinese woman. I'm just giving a Chinese woman as an example. It could have been anybody else, right? A petite person. Well, you mean to say that the goddess doesn't exist in a petite woman? So, no, what matters now is the external symbol of fertility. Yeah, but do you think that that woman who's tense like this and her organs are tense like this and who's totally devoted to Melanie has that level of creative potency? Because she has got a fake ass? Come on, let's cut the crap.